One moment, please. We now record. And we start our session V5B, Student Engagement and Motivation in Online Learning. Now, we say about four topics. The first topic, ways of engaging students of pedagogical university in the conditions of online learning of the integrated course methodology of teaching art at school. Speaker Larissa Bezemchuk. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah, very good. Вітаю всіх.
Start, please, your presentation and go.
Доброго дня, шановні колеги.
No, please, English.
Але моя презентація англійською мовою. Якщо ви надасте мені можливість, то я її представлю українською мовою. Дякую.
Я не знаю. It's very problem, but organization, the international conference, ICTRI, not provide an opportunity only English report now. I already report English or no?
Тобто можливість тільки англійською я можу? Чи я можу все ж таки англійський варіант, а її трошки прокоментувати українською, як ви скажете, державною?
No, let's present your presentation in English.
Is English, так.
Okay.
Can I? I'm really sorry. I can help Larissa Bezemchuk if you don't mind. I can assist her if you don't.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so I can
Because,
read.
I help with annotation about this article. Thank you.
So if you don't mind, I can read the Larissa's presentation in English, yeah, and she will give her comments in Ukrainian. Can we do this? Would you allow us to do this one?
Are you ready this report on English for our help, Larissa?
So is it a question for me or for Larissa?
Yes, for you.
So I can help Larissa. I can read her presentation in English, and Larissa will give Ukrainian answers or Ukrainian.
No, only you English, or I say about this topic, and now you start present, and I about the topic, the article, ways of engaging students of pedagogical university in the conditions of online learning of the integrated course methodology of teaching art at school, addresses the current problems of providing methods of work in online conditions for future music teachers studying in pedagogical university in the specialty 014 secondary education musical art. The authors review the latest research in the context the adopted education standards and the implementation of the ideas of the new Ukrainian school requires finding effective ways for work with students through digital education. The training of future musical teachers on the basis of integrated learning takes into account didactic skills related to the involvement of music specialists in artistic and creative activities on the basis of a didactic model, perception, performance creation, and evaluation of the results of musical activity, artistic activity. In the paper, the authors presents a methodology for online work with students, which mainly has a specific modular structure. The methodology is implemented in the context of online learning on the example of students mastering the integrated courses methods of teaching art at school, taking into account the specifics of this discipline, which reveals a modern integrated approach to teaches fine art at school. The stages of its study were structured according to the levels of student involvement in working with the digital means, cognitive and developmental, constructive and creative. An attempt is made to offer students at each stage of study to perform professionally oriented situations in which the lecture consultation and is defined as an effective form of work with the student audience in a synchronous mode using modern information technologies for the presentation of creative projects in integrated lessons art. A special place is given to examples for conducting a review uh, and consultation sessions in the form of a flex model. The methodology of working with a student audience of mixed form of education but means of telecommunication with the use of graphic as symbolic means is presented. In including work with electronic textbooks using with the tools Canvas learning apps, Subbase 12, in accordance with the objectives of the work, the effectiveness of the methodology of work in the online format during the mastering of the integrated course using the criteria that determine the level of integration and pedagogical skills of future music teachers. Also, a preliminary analysis of the impact of the online work methods on the level of students' motivation of future musical and pedagogical activities, increasing creative motivation for performing special tasks in performing activities, instrumental, vocal, oral creativity. Using innovative teaching technologies was carried out. The level of success was studied on the example of successful completion of professionally oriented tasks, which include designated fine arts lessons, creating arts projects, work with information tools, which are methodological tools for practical implementation in the work of educational institutes. In order to obtain preliminary results and test the effectiveness of the online work methodology for the formation of integration and pedagogical skills of students of pedagogical university majoring in 014 secondary education musical arts. A study was conducted in separate group of full-time and part-time departments of Grigory Skovroda Kharkiv National Pedagogical University as the Department of Musical Art accordingly. The authors selected three criteria: informational and motivational, demonstrate the degree of awareness in the information environment, the ability to perceive artistic information on the internet, to perform tasks of professionally oriented content with the help of internet resources. The analytical activity criterion is the ability of students to independently create artistic projects and didactic lessons designed for working with students during their pedagogical practice in a distance format. The active transformative criterion reflection, the manifestations of students' creative motives during artistic and creative activities, perception, performance, creative evaluation of work in online learning. They presented and discussed results which can be found in the links, allowed us to conclude that the author's methodology of online teaching of students of music specialists at pedagogical university can potentially be used as a basis for finding modern methods of online learning. Learning environment, it is planned to expand the range of issues related to the implementation of the methodology in university outside Ukraine. Since the implementation of professionally oriented task was offered to students from China, who received a positive result of working with students in Chinese schools during pedagogical practice in a remote mode. That's all about this topic. Any questions for Larissa Bezemchuk?
So may I ask a question to Larissa? Um, or may I?
Uh, I see questions Olga Pinchuk. What kind of IKT tools did teachers master?
Ага. Дякую. Якщо можна на українській мові ще перекласти мені питання, будь ласка, якщо вам не складно.
Які засоби, які цифрові засоби ви використовували у своїй методології?
Ага, дуже дякую. Для того, щоб розробити методику залучення наших студентів до онлайн-навчання і апробування інтегрованого курсу методика викладання мистецтва в школі, ми використовували ряд інформаційних інструментальних засобів, серед яких були і онлайн-платформи, і це були інструменти, серед яких були і музичні редактори, і ціла низка різних інформаційних засобів. Ну, наприклад, наші студенти використовували такі онлайн-ресурси, як Canva, Learning.net, і серед музичних редакторів, які вони використовували для спеціальних видів завдань, були і Cubase 12, і Music Core, і інші музичні редактори. Дякую.
Thank you. Any questions?
May I ask questions to Larissa? So my question is, so could you give an example of professional-oriented tasks of the creative level, which you used in your methodology?
Дякую.
Будь
Дякую.
ласка, наведіть приклад, якщо можете, професійно орієнтованих завдань творчого рівня, який ви використовували.
Дякую. Серед професійно орієнтованих завдань творчого рівня були, наприклад, завдання для онлайн-навчання з учнями в умовах нової української школи. І серед завдань, наприклад, було завдання розробка віртуальних екскурсій для учнів, і потім використання Learning.net для того, щоб оцінити результативність роботи з учнями в період педагогічної практики. Ну, якщо ви дозволите, то на своїй презентації я можу продемонструвати виконання цього завдання.
If you can, you're welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Next time.
Дякую.
Say about the next topic, mobile application decision for digital education IT students, engagements experience on conditions of online learning, the course mobile technologies, presented by Ludmila Grizun. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you. Larissa, turn off our screen, please.
Дякую. Вот.
Please
Вимкніть,
close,
будь ласка, ваш
закрий,
екран.
будь ласка, закрийте, будь ласка, свою презентацію.
Thank you.
May I? Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Just a moment,
Ludmila,
I'm
start your
opening.
presentation, please.
Yeah, I'm opening. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm really happy to greet all the participants of the second workshop on digital transformation of education. My name is Ludmila Grizun. I'm a full professor of Information Systems Department, Simon-Kuznets National University of Economics, Kharkiv City, Ukraine, and my co-author is docent of University of Electronics, Kharkiv City, Ukraine. The topic of our presentation today is mobile applications design for digital education and exactly the aspect of IT students' engagement experience on conditions of online learning, the course mobile technologies. In my presentation, I'm going to cover the urgency and purpose of the research, the theoretical framework, then author's approach to the students' engagement into project-based learning in terms of the online course mobile technologies, and discussion of the benefits of the offered approach in terms of raising students' motivation to learning. The urgency of our research is caused by the number of factors which demand the search of new approaches to students' engagement. And main factors which caused the urgency of the research are the following. First of all, in terms of the digitalization of education, nowadays priorities are shifting in favor of mobile technologies application to the learning purposes. And it's mostly caused by the bring your own device strategy implementation at all levels of education, raising of across the curriculum using of mobile gadgets, and finally and or as a result increasing needs for integration of various educational technologies enhanced with exactly mobile learning aids. So the development and the spreading of learning mobile aids is really essential nowadays. On the other hand, in current situation of online training of pre-service specialists at universities, there are admitted the problems connected with dropping of students' motivation to study. It is observed the disbalance of theoretical and practical aspects of training, lack of practical skills application to real-life tasks, and the insufficient level of interactivity while studying, and finally losing the interest to the subject of learning. And especially it is um, topical for IT specialists, potential IT specialists who start working for companies very early at early courses and very quickly lose the motivation to learn at university. And finally, university training is mostly guided nowadays by cognitive approaches rather than by motivation theory. So, unfortunately, students' motivation to learn is undervalued. Thus, it's essential to find out the means of the IT students' involvement into interactive and practically driven forms of work. Minding the great potential of mobile didactic aids and benefits of their using in the educational practice depicted above, we undertook the attempt to engage the students of IT majors into development of practically significant projects within the online mobile technologies course doing. And most of these projects were focused on the development of learning aids for mobile learning. The purpose of the work is to highlight the branches of practical project themes offered to the students and focused on the mobile aids design within the course mobile technologies, to characterize the stages and the results of student works upon them, and to provide preliminary analysis of the impact of such an activity on the students' learning motivation. The theoretical background of our work is made by the analysis of didactic fundamentals of mobile learning and peculiarities of the mobile learning aids development, which is really essential, didactic fundamentals of project-based learning, and motivation theory basics. The analyzed theoretical basics were implemented for students' engagement into project-based learning in terms of the online bachelor course mobile technologies, which is one of the educational components of potential IT specialists' university training. In order to raise students' motivation to learn, it was applied project-based learning strategy with involving different students teams into work upon different projects. One of the essential branches of the offered projects was devoted to development of didactic applications for mobile learning implication. According to studies, project-based learning is an approach which gives students the opportunity to earn knowledge and work out skills while engaging in the project focused around real-life problems the trainees may face in the real world. And it is also characterized as a teaching method in which trainees learn by active involvement in real world and personally significant project. Using PBL, teachers make studying more alive and practically driven for students. To help educators to implement the project-based learning efficiently, they were formulated in the literature, they were formulated essential rules and project design elements. And the said rules, they determine in fact the requirements to the project task formation. In particular, the project should be framed by a significant problem or a challenging issue. It must expect inquiry or investigation for students to be involved. The project should comprise real world content. It should be public and open project as a result, and so on. The said rules were used by us as teachers as a basis for the project tasks and the themes formulation. Themes formulation. The project themes suggested for the students included the development of mobile aids for modeling different processes. For example, it was one branch of our topics. Second one, they were mobile simulators to work out various learning skills for school children and students. And the third branch, there was mobile didactic games of different times. In particular, each of the projects was framed by a significant problem to be solved, to develop the learning aid or environment which is able to provide the benefits of mobile learning of specific subject domain. All the projects also expected inquiry, engaging students in extended process of setting questions, searching resources, supplying information, developing the didactic application focused on the specific real-life problem resolving. And the students' opinion was taken into account, obligatory. It was one of the rules formulated by the standards of PBL. The students' opinion was taken into account, which allowed them make some decisions about the project itself, specify the topic of the project, decide what exactly to create, which stack of technologies to apply, etc. The students were informed as for the target audience, the core features of the final product, the ways of receiving feedback, etc. etc. That is was done according to the standards of project-based learning within our course and within the formulation of the topics. The stages of the work were organized according to the teacher's practices recommended in the PBL guidelines. At the planning stage, the teachers created a project and tailored it for the context of the exact course. Our exact course was mobile technologies. And for students also, and plan its implementation from the beginning to the finish, taking into account students' choice and students' voice itself. Planning the project, the teachers had to mind standards and make sure that it addresses key competencies from the subject areas. Building the culture of project-based learning, the teachers promoted students' independence and progress, inquiry activity, attention to quality, and team spirit. In the progress of students' work upon the project, teachers managed activities through the interaction with students to help them assign the tasks in team, to agree the schedules, and so on. Besides, the teachers initiated and supported students' development, applying a variety of instructional strategies to involve all the students in achieving project goals, engage them in learning and product creation, etc. And the assessment stage also was organized in proper way according to the project-based learning strategy. Um, as the examples of successful project-based learning within the course, we chose 3 projects devoted to the development of the aids for mobile learning. And I'd like to characterize them a bit and show how our strategy was implemented on the example of these projects. The first project from the first branch, it was application for processes modeling with the help of Petri nets. Second project from second branch, it was mobile English simulator for school children. And finally, mobile game for logical thinking development, which were developed by the students within the work on during online course project mobile technologies and according to the project-based learning strategy. All of the mobile applications as final products developed within the students' work were successfully implemented into educational practice in different branches and got positive feedback from the target users. So some stages of project work will be characterized selectively using these projects. In terms of building of project based learning culture within the project between nets modeling project one, the teachers did their best to promote students independence and progress, encourage the inquiry activity and attention to the quality of the final project. The students were involved into learning not only the features of mobile learning aids, but also, they were engaged in inquiry activity as for the basics of Petri-nets theory and its use for the simulation of different processes. The analysis of Petri-nets formalism and understanding of its facilities for dynamic models building and potential exploring of the model processes, and the students had to realize that Petri-nets provide intuitively clear tool which enables to create, visualize, and explore a model of real process in its dynamics, and focused on the necessity to provide in the future mobile application facilities to manipulate the net's parameters with observing immediate changes of the whole modeling. In such a way, the teachers promoted trainees independent and extended knowledge usage and so on. So this project was really challenging for our students. However, they got great experience of creating a really useful product, mobile learning aid, behind which it was quite deep mathematical theory, and they coped with it. The second example, that is mobile English simulator for school children, designed as a result of project 2. Here, I'd like to emphasize that efficient project-based learning teachers practice in the progress of students' work upon the project included the following things. The teachers managed activities through the interaction with students to help them assign the tasks in the team, agree the schedules, set checkpoints, and so on. And teamwork was organized in special way with focus on the high level of interactivity using different Zoom facilities. We have to mind that all of the learning and project activity was organized online, yeah, and we used a lot Zoom facilities like breaking on the rooms and so on. And using these facilities, they were suggested students division into groups of, for example, analytics, UX, UI designer, developers, and quality minders. And within the groups, it was and between the groups, they were organized argumentative discussions by teacher with the help of, for example, Socratic method of discussion to promote students' critical thinking and so on. As a result, each group could get comprehensive understanding of the role uh, in the whole interactive process, the role of this exact group in the whole interactive process of mobile application design, and could corrective allocate the tasks, roles within the group and the communication between the groups. And the third project, final project, which a final example, let's say, yeah. Here you can see episodes of logical task solving with the help of mobile game for logical thinking development, designed as a result of project 3. The third project-based learning approach to teamwork organization was successfully applied by the teachers on all of the projects, and in such a way, educators initiated and supported students' development, applying a variety of instructional strategies. So, in a few words, I'd like to understand to give understanding of how we actually measured the influence of the our strategy to the motivation to learning. We appealed to the motivation concept as a part of the psychological theory. Motivation to learn is defined as the personal efforts which encourage to learning activities. And the most common factors that affect motivation, according to the psychology, they are attention, appealing to learners' past experience, positive attitude, and satisfaction. And based on these factors or dimensions of motivation, we created special survey in order to determine the level of motivation. Yeah, the survey was designed to evaluate whether the project-based learning is in line with the forementioned rules, forementioned dimensions of motivations, and detect what students' motivations levels are. The survey consists of 20 items comprising four subsections to measure attention, appealing to learners' past experience, positive attitude, and satisfaction. Very selectively, I demonstrate here this survey. There is subsection number 1 and subsection number 4, and you can look through the statement in which form our survey was created. They are statement, and the students had to give their answers. How far is it true for them or false for them? Do they agree or disagree according to special scale? To obtain and test the design survey reliability, it was conducted in some groups of pre-service IT specialists who completed the course mobile learning in terms of implementation of project-based learning activity, enhanced with interactive methods. In total, 27 students took part in this survey, and the scale reliability test was conducted to estimate the result. The reliability of all of the four scales for each motivation dimension on standardized Cronbach alpha was 0.75, which was proof that there is acceptable reliability for the obtained result. The range of students' motivation level as a result of this survey you can see on the screen, and we can conclude that more than half of the students had high and intermediate motivation level. And here I just want to emphasize in the preliminary results of our survey. Quite interesting that about 70% of our trainees admitted that they attended online classes with desire because they were used variety of grouping activities. Communication with other students during debates and discussion helped hold their attention, and the course stimulated their curiosity, and they speculated about the learning material even after classes. Over 50% of the students said that during the course doing, they were involved into the work upon the tasks that demonstrated them how these course materials could be useful to them in the potential professional life. 63% of the participants revealed positive attitude to learning and team interaction during material mastering suggested them confidence in their abilities to succeed the course. And about 72% said that they were pleased to work on the course in such a friendly and cooperative atmosphere. These are just, I'd say, emotional characteristics, but I think that it's quite important, and our work was really rewarding. Our work as teachers of this course were really, really rewarded. As for this one, that's all, and I'm ready to answer my questions, if any.
Thank you. Thank you for the interesting report on mobile application decision for digital education, IT students' engagement experience on conditions of online learning the course mobile technologies. Let's briefly recall what we were talking about. The article mobile application decision for digital education, IT students' engagement experience on the conditions of online learning in the course mobile technologies discusses the current problem of providing mobile digital education with quality tools and the challenges of online training of IT specialists. Based on a review of recent research and analysis of educational practice, the relevance of our study is revealed to be related to the problems of reducing the students' motivation to learn and the need to find effective ways to engage them in active and practically significant learning activities. Given the great potential of mobile didactic tools and the advantages of their use in education practice, the authors have attempted to implement a project-based learning strategy and involve IT students in the development of practically relevant projects within the framework of the mobile technology online courses. The paper aims to identify the project's topic areas, characterize the stages and results of students' work on them. The authors also provide a preliminary analysis of the impact of such activities on students' learning motivation. The stage of preparing a survey to assess student motivation as an impact of PBL implementation is also highlighted. The survey consists of 20 items, which consist of four subsections that correspond to the number of identified parameters of motivation, attention, reference to the student's past experience, positive attitude, satisfaction. To obtain preliminary results and verify the reliability of the development survey, it was conducted in separated groups of potential IT professionals who have completed the online course mobile technologies. Acceptable reliability of the scales was proved. According to the scoring intervals, the authors identified four levels of motivation. The results of the survey by levels of student motivation are presented and discussed. The results of the author's observation of the monitoring program are also presented and discussed. It is concluded that the result of the survey and our monitoring program can potentially be used as a basis for comprehensive empirical study to test the impact of the proposed PBL on student motivation. It is planned to expand the range of respondents to generalize the results of a survey and expand it by specifying the change caused by the introduced methods, which is a prospect of our work. There are several questions in the chat. Please answer. Thank you.
And so, where are the questions?
In text chat.
I can't see it. So sorry. Um,
My questions Tatiana Vakaluk and Olga Pinchuk. Three last questions in text chat.
but I'm sorry, I can't see the chat itself. Okay, presentations and discussing talk. And where is it? Uh, the,
15.
uh, I'll try. I'll start from the end. Yeah, may I ask, which stage of the students' implementation of the project was the most difficult for them? Oh, so thank you for the question. Definitely, the initial stages of the project work was the most difficult for them. That is the stage of planning work and planning investigation, which was behind the project task. And definitely, it was also quite difficult and challenging for them to find this, I'd say, balance of communication. And here it was a lot of teachers assistance, because we had to make relevant teams in order to find out the ways of right communication between these teams. And I gave an example how we did it, how actually we did it, but it wasn't really easy. How many years has the course mobile technologies been taught at our university? What directions do you define for this improvement? There are two questions. Thank you for the question. How many years has, oh, it's not, it's quite easy question for me because I'm quite a newcomer at this university. I have been working for 3 academic years, and this course existed before. At least for me, this course lasts 3 years, and it takes 1 semester. Yeah, what directions do you define for its improvement? Thank you for the question. The directions as for improvement, there are a lot of them. In fact, in and I'd distinguish here different aspects. On the one hand, it's not bad to find out the right balance of programming languages. Basically, this course has been always focused on Java language. However, nowadays, Kotlin is more advanced language in this area, and it's our also challenge for for colleagues to find this balance between Java and Kotlin, because these languages now, I'd say, they are a bit competent in between each other, and it's important to find out this balance, what to give students, yeah, what engage in which them. That is one aspect of improvement, and another aspect of improvement, that is, let's say, the involving going on involving students into this activity. Project-based learning is quite advanced strategy. However, it's not easy to realize, especially in online learning, and we nowadays we have to work in online learning, definitely. You have described 3 projects. In your opinion, which one is the most successful, and why? Um, so very difficult to say the most successful in which sense. The most interesting for students was modeling on based on project on Petrinets. Definitely, it was most challenging for them, but they enjoyed this work. On the other hand, the simulator, English simulator, and logical games, they are quite interesting for lots of people, not only for school children. It was quite wide target audience, and I think that all of the projects they are interesting and successful on in their special way. Let's say their special way. What kind of ICT tools did teachers? It was different way.
No,
It
it's
wasn't for me. Thank you for the questions. Quite comprehensive and interesting. Hope
thank
that
you.
you are satisfied with my answers.
Any questions? Okay. Dear participants of the conference, I would like to remind once again the conditions of participation in the conference, which were described on the conference website and in the letters to the authors. According to them, the official language of the conference is only English, and we cannot single-handedly change the format of or language of the conference. These rules we formed and agreed upon 20 years ago. Therefore, I ask everyone to comply with their requirements because the conference organized have every right not to recommend reports that violate the organization rule for printing. Thank you. Let's move on to the next report on the topic.
Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Elaboration content of the e-learning course for the education and professional program navigation and ship handling to develop foreign language communicative competence. Speaker Irina Shvetsova. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah. How do you hear me?
I see you, and start please your presentation and run.
Okay.
I cannot your presentation.
Yeah, I try
Technical
to
problems. Start PowerPoint.
from now. What about now? No, yes. No, yeah.
No. Okay.
As unfortunately, I firstly use this one.
Share your screencast full, please. And now variants UK with arrows down.
What about now? Do you see my screen? Yes, no?
I see your screen, but
Mhm.
this PowerPoint or not demonstration.
Mhm.
Please reboot PowerPoint or resharing screen, full screen, and demonstrate your presentation. Or other variants. Run presentation and share full screen. Okay, in this variant, run and arrows down.
Arrows, yeah,
Or-
in the middle, I see the arrow, it starts the demonstration, yeah, in the
Yes.
middle of the screen. So I push this one and I see Chrome, window, and all screen. I mean, what should I,
All screen.
all screen?
All
Okay,
screen.
then I should agree with all screen and
Or and demonstrate your PowerPoint presentation. Demonstration. Whoa. Super.
do you see, yeah?
Repeat, please.
Do you yeah, do you see, yeah? Because I
Repeat,
don't.
please. I see presentation before. Start demonstration, please.
From the very beginning. So now you see, yes, no?
No, I see you, but I don't see your presentation. Repeat, please, your action and start presentation and share with full screen, all screen.
Oh, one moment, please.
Okay, I see your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Next, okay, demo. Run presentation. F5 or F9 or button. Slideshow. Slideshow.
Yes, slideshow and from the very beginning.
Yes. Okay, I see presentation. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you see.
Start
Okay.
you.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for some some problems that we have. So I'm pleased to extend greeting to all of the participants in this meeting. So, and our topic is elaboration content of the e-learning course for the educational and professional program navigation and ship handling to develop foreign language communicative competence. So this program was designed by me, Irina Shvetsova, candidate of pedagogical science, associate professor of Kherson State Maritime Academy, with cooperation in cooperation with Smirnova Irina, professor of Danube Maritime Academy. So today, I would like to focus and present the result of the course which implemented in our academies and focus on some needs, some objects, some structures, some assessments, and the result which we have, which we implemented. First of all, I need to say that International Maritime Organization has adopted numerous rules, regulation on safety standards for maritime operation, and that must adhere by the maritime profession. However, enhancing crew training remains a key issue. So the risk of maritime accidents is steadily increasing in the maritime transport environment. This endangers the safety of seafarers, the economic performance, the shipping industry, and the environment, of course. So, study of number of accidents shows that the human factor is dominant, and responding to this problem requires huge steps to develop safety measures and aimed at increasing the efficiency of maritime transport by improving ship management technology as well as advanced navigation capability. So throughout this study, the emphasizes one on the importance of the understanding how to deal with the visual and the audible signals at sea, and of course in according to the international regulation for the prevention of collision at sea, and what is also part of training of ship officers and ship management professions in the context of lifelong learning. So, considering the importance of training qualified specialists, we believe that it is necessary to improve the educational and methodological support. Methodological support of disciplines, and of course, increase the efficiency of the educational process by introducing modern teaching approaches. So, according to the conducted evaluation, the relationship between the higher education sector and labor market should be more intensive and close due to the growing requirements for profession qualification. So, in particular, it is it is important to pay attention to the current problems in the educational process and related to the distant learning and technological capabilities. It is important to find ways to meet the increasingly complex requirements for improving professional and linguistic competence in English specific purpose and to meet both the individual needs of students and the high standard of the International Maritime Labor Convention. So, the need of to develop the course of training navigation and ship handling specialists is undoubtedly stipulated by many factors. The first one, it is analysis of accident events, shows that the ship collisions are the most common type of accident. And in addition, it has been established that the main cause of collision C is a human factor. Human factor arises from the incorrect application, misunderstanding of the rules, and another one. So, in the regard, there is a need to develop an understanding of how to avoid collision at sea by identifying threats, hazard, as well as the ability to apply understanding correctly. So the second one, to prove the high importance of the visual and the sound signaling course in the discipline of maritime English, and statistically analyze of the gaps related to their correct application and understanding of the basic rules was carried out. So this allowed us to identify and analyze the difficulties in understanding the correct rules and create this course, e-course, and analyze the difficulties in understanding correct and so on. So another important factor that points to the need to develop a course on visual and sound signal based on the interview. So the most common question related to the topic of our study also were identified as a result of interview with crew companies, which is really popular for our cadets. And this question and other questions were taken into account when develop our structure of our course. So maritime safety and foreign language competence, complex and interrelated. And the study focuses on the empirical evaluation of integration of the model visual and sound signaling into the course maritime English for specialists in navigation and ship handling in order to improve their professional competencies and related to the requirement of the international regulation for the prevention collision, STCW convention, model course 3.17 maritime English, and the working curriculum of the discipline maritime English is developed in accordance with the standard of higher education for degrees of for bachelor's degree, field of knowledge transport, specialty maritime and inland water transport, and specialization, of course, navigation and ship handling. So the academic discipline maritime English is according with the working curriculum aims to develop skills of specialist professional communication, mastering by high education students of English language, uh, special of course use, including in the formation of terminological competence, communicative competence, and understanding statement. It's a process of professional communication and presenting their practical knowledge. So the key components to understand communication and see with the help of sound, light signals uh, by different types of ships when performing a certain type of activity in distress and maneuverability. It's according to the specific hour course, I mean, this competence. So the e-learning resources has the following structure. Part one is light signal, part two is the sound and distress signaling, and the contents of the part is defined in such way as to identify topics that will help to address safety related deficiencies on board. So the module is intended to provide preliminary information to students of maritime educational institution and familiarize them with the basic rules of conduct on board a colreg vessel before their practical training, before their first voyages. So this e-learning course has been implemented into the work of Kherson State Maritime Academy for second year bachelor student, and majoring in the navigation and ship handling, taking into account the purpose of the discipline. And this course was designed for 20 classes, including oral, test control, as well as classes on analyzing report on the situation at sea, different accidents of extending reading. When development, the context, we proceeded from the fact that the content of e-learning course is a part of the content of educational content. So it is a system of knowledge, skills, abilities, and mastery of which ensure the development of students' abilities. So different resources, such as, of course, basic COLRAC, which is the main one, is the regulation, then authentic case studies, training videos, audio materials found on maritime safety and navigation websites served as the sources for the development of electronic course and course content, and the information has been modified to meet the training needs of maritime seafarers. So, in accordance with the objectives and expected, of course, outcomes. Each part consists of the topics and that have a special structure in accordance with the communication approach and recommendation of the International Maritime Organization Model Course 3.17 Maritime English. The presentation, practice, production structure of a practical lesson is well suited for a linguistically oriented lesson. In this way, the target language is concerned with grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. But we believe that the important requirement for conducting lesson is also focused on the developing communicative skills. So the structure of the practical lesson in our e-courses include tasks aimed at the development communicative skills at the started stage of the lesson, at the forming foreign language communicative competence, and the productive stage. So the e-course contain tasks aimed at developing all four main languages skills: reading, listening, speaking, writing, and each practical lessons in course include either professional vocabulary or grammar, and according with the topic specified in the course structure. So the vocabulary to be learned includes abbreviations, phrases uses in a TCW convention like VIG craft, VHF, and so on, as well as the active vocabulary which used in the text, in the videos, and so on. So active vocabulary to be learned in this course is presented in the form of dictionary. So a dictionary as well as flashcards, and is presented in the questionnaires, text and check knowledge, and so on. So uh, the quality of knowledge obtained by higher education student, of course, is monitored by teachers, and it is after the completion of each topic during the semester. Two main forms of current control are relevant. The first one, it is oral interview according to the approved list of questions for the topic which they have before on our course, I mean students, during which student must demonstrate the level of competence in oral communication, in oral communication. So, and the second one, it is a computer-based testing on the Moodle platform to determine the level of lexical, grammatical skill, reading skills, and so on. Of course, now courses well-designed self-study sections where cadet can practice and prepare before the final demonstration their knowledge. So let's focus on the next slide. It is the module. As I said, the module also should ends with a stop and check. It's a computer-based testing, which presented on our Moodle platform and contained different tasks like lexical, grammatical, reading, and the largest category is a task of to test the professional competence of the students in different situation with different situation at sea, pictures, videos, and so on, reading, and another one. So on the platform, the teacher can view reports on students' progress through their course, through their lessons, through the activities. So in any way. So this result displays information on the progress assessment of each student's groups or subgroups. It's rather convenience for teacher to assign to control and maybe rebuild the structures, the techniques of the lessons. So sorry. The identifying the effectiveness of the developed learning resource and the feasibility of its use, the following methods were used: testing, oral knowledge survey, and assessment of teachers' ability to apply the acquired knowledge in real situations, student questionnaires, and so on, so on. So the result of a preliminary test and the oral survey of teachers demonstrated a high level of knowledge of the cadets who work with electronic learning resources with our course. So the students, those chose the correct answers, could justify their relevance in accordance with the correct. To test the understanding of sound, light signals, the cadets were invited to the navigation bridge. During the diagnostic, various navigation situation were offered, and the cadets explained the status, size of the ship, and manage the vessel according to the situation. So another important indicator of the high effectiveness of the e-learning resource for the English specific purpose was the successful completion of interviews with companies, which was very important for promotion of our cadets. So students who actively use the e-course noted in an anonymous survey using the Slido apps that the course was useful and easy to use. So in their open written feedback, their trainers also provided the following positive feedback: the ability to complete learning tasks several times, useful video resources that can help to understand some rules, some situation, work with flashcards, allows to study material in convenient form and their own pace. Also, interests and variety of tasks help to understand complex rule in easy way, and so on. So in the question we designed to collect the data on students' evaluation of the e-resources, they were also asked to answer the question about learning the content and develop their foreign language competent in accordance with them topic. So resource of study demonstrates the feasibility of using the e-learning course in the process of learning maritime English, and this is evidenced by the high level of student knowledge, high appreciation of the importance of education impact of the course, as well as the absence of low level of knowledge and the high motivation for the discipline. So these results are achievable because such an attitude of student was formed through systematic immersion in professional situation and the development of professional skills through system of active interactive forms of learning which they practice on the platform. So this course can be useful for teachers of maritime English and will help to teach safety issues alongside languages teaching in accordance with the requirements standard training course, course model course 3.17 Maritime English, and it is contribution of the development of the maritime industry by integration of e-course visual audible signal into study of maritime English by student of the faculty navigation and contribute to the awareness of maritime safety. So that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thanks for the interesting wrap-up. I see several questions in the text chat. Olga Pinchuk write, several related questions arose. Can you provide specific examples of the topics covered in the e-course that are designed to enhance maritime safety and reduce safety issues? Next questions. Are there any specific recommendations or insights provided in your article for teachers of maritime English on how to efficiently integrate safety issues into language teaching? And is it possible to use parts or components of your course for teaching English for students of other specialists?
Okay, thank you for the question. So the first one, it is the question about the topic which covered in the e-courses. So our courses designed as a basic on the requirement and documents to prevent collision. So and the topic covered all rules, for example, different signal, how to identify signals according to the top light or sounds, how to identify, for example, the situation at sea according to the sound signal. So I would like to focus at all topics. It is a practical presentation of different situation, and it's equal to the rule in this document. So according to the document, we based on this one and created all our questions to this one. The second question is a specific recommendation or insight provide how to effectively integrate the safety issues into language teaching. So I focus on the in my presentation and in the article. I focus that when we provide some English course specific in our case, we need to follow to the strict planning of the lesson. Strict. I mean, part of the lesson should be presented. For example, for the second course, presentation and practice and preparation, so PP, I mean, structure is more appropriate. But if we are talking about another level of education, I mean, master degree, it will be rather different one. If you focus on the first course or the second course, it's rather appropriate PP structure, like prescribed in the requirement for maritime English and another English teachers lesson. It will be rather good for implement and to understand how to implement different issues in the process of language teaching. And question about possibility to use part of the component of the course for teaching English of students other specialities. I think it's this course implemented only for the navigator. So and not another, I mean, department. It's specific course. We didn't find appropriate or similar books or courses to help our students, so we decided to create and design our own course which really good for implementation. But we implemented this course not just in our, I mean, we implemented in our academy, but we tried to use I mean program mobility and engage another student from another universities, maritime universities and academies, and give the opportunity to also practice with our course. So what is the peculiarities of the development? Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, I still ask the next question.
One moment, please. One
Mhm.
moment, please.
Okay.
I want to remind everyone that you can continue this discussion in the text chat while the reports are going on.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next report. Next report, we are simulator for studying the structure of tractors. Speaker Alexander Kanevets. Alexander, are you ready?
Good afternoon. Do you hear me?
I see you.
Yes.
Start your presentation, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexander Kanevets. I am presenting a report on the topic we are simulating for studying the structure of tractors. The purpose of the study is to present our own experience of the main stage of VR application development and the possibility of using virtual reality to study the structure of tractors. The object of the research is the Educational Information Program VR simulator for studying the structure of tractors for conducting appropriate laboratory work during learning of student of technical specialties. The subject of the research is the process of development and implementation of this educational program in the educational process of a high educational institution. To reach this target, we solved the following tasks. Made a theoretical review of the literature, built an exact copy of the electronic model of the tractor, developed a VR application in Unity, tested the performance of the VR application. The VR application has a hanger with electronic tractor models. On the left, the tractor is shown as a complete unit. On the right, the model is disassembled in individual components and parts. You can see a red market on a tractor. The information panel shows up when you move the white avatar's pointers over the red market. It contains basic information about the parts. We wrote the necessary script in C# to make the panels work. The avatar is developed in the form of a capsule. We wrote a script to rotate and move the avatar around the hanger. In this case, the avatar starts moving when the VR handset is lowered to a given angle. The VR application was tested for performance during the study of the discipline technologies and means of the agro-industrial complex. The developed VR application was installed on the phone. The phone was placed in a VR handset. Students were given instruction on how to use the virtual reality program. We developed a form and conducted a survey on technology adoption after using a VR application. This survey has 10 questions. The experiment involved 53 students. Students gave answer on a 5-point Likert scale. 1. Strongly disagree. 2. Disagree. 3. Difficult to answer. 4. Agree. 5. Strongly agree. The result were analyzed by the following methods: calculation of the mean, calculation of the median, calculation of the standard deviation. The question one was about the easy of understanding the instruction. It mean was calculated at 4.6 with a median at 5. This showed that the instructions were simple and easy to understand. Answers to the question 2 with a score at 4.6 showed that little time was needed to learn how to use the application. The question 3 asked about the easy of use of the application. The result was confirmed by a score at 4.7. The average score at 4.3 for the question 4 and 5 showed a good understanding of the application, which can help learn the structure of a tractor. The result at 4.6 for the question 6 showed low mental effort when using the application. The answer to the question 7 is 3.9. So most the respondents were interested of using the application in the educational process. The result at 4.3 for the question 8 showed that the most students got the application to do right things. The question 9 was about trusting that they were getting the right instruction, and the result was 4.4 with a median at 5. So the students confirmed that they got the right instruction from the program. The result of the question 10 was 3.8 with a standard deviation of 0.91. It showed that respondents' answers were not disagreeing with the application. The survey's result showed that students were happy to support the virtual learning format. They especially liked the gameplay of gaining knowledge. Students were interested in walking around the virtual hangar, getting up close and personal with the tractor, and studying its construction. In conclusion, the literature analysis showed that ICT is widely used in the educational process, but we did not find such a training simulator. VR technologies have the potential to gain new engineering skills while reducing educational costs for the purchase of new equipment. Students were happy to support the virtual learning format. The developed program allows to quickly update your knowledge before working on real tractors. Thank you for your attention. I
Thank you for the report. There are several questions in the chat. Please answer them. Can you see questions in text chat?
Yes, I see.
Answer the questions, please.
Can you provide more details about specific? Mhm. Um, mm, uh, VR VR technologies is is have a low price. If we can if new equipment no if we can buy new equipment can can on a new equipment we can high price. New equipment have high price. VR technologies is a low price. We we one developed a VR program, and we can use it everywhere. But if we
Okay. Perhaps it will be easy for you to give an answer also in a text chat. I think you will be able to give an extended and good answer to all questions. Okay?
okay.
Write extend answer to these questions in text chat. And we are ending the Q&A session, and we'll continue our work at the 5 p.m., where we will hear and discuss the final 3 reports. I will be glad to see everyone at the final session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tatiana, record pause, please.